During the Great War, armies took turns charging lines and counterattacking defeated foes for control over the battlefield. They raided trenches for supplies, fought over the most strategic points, and held secured supply lines to obtain victory. In Rivet Wars, it's no different, as you and your enemies will exchange blows to control the battlefield. My name's Lieutenant Flint from the Landship Scorpios, and you're watching another Rivet Wars Basics video. Welcome back to another Rivet Wars Basics. As you know, today we are talking about turns, we're talking about rounds, we're talking about phases. So when you're playing your Rivet Wars, you've got a few different phases of the game, or parts of the game. A round is made up of 2 turns, which is each time a player moves, then the round has ended. A turn is made up of 5 phases. Now we're going to touch up on each of these phases in their own separate videos, but I'm going to just brush over them very slightly. To decide the turn order, players will roll for the initiative. Then they will begin. Such phases will include the card phase, in which players will get secret mission cards, and action cards, the deployment phase, in which each side will deploy extra units on the board, depending on their resources. The attack phase, where each unit will have a chance to attack a unit within their attack area. So that they can dispatch enemy units. The movement phase, after the movement phase, there's the wrap-up phase to award any points that either side may still get. It will also allow them to a last chance to use any cards that they might be able to use at this time. After that, it goes to the next turn if the round isn't over. The next turn in this case will be the Blight, and they get the same thing. They get a card phase to choose to draw a card to ensure that their hand is as full as it can be for that round. Then they get to deploy units. Then they get a chance to attack, if they can, for a chance to remove some of the units from the board. Then they get a movement phase. And then they have a wrap-up phase. Now let's talk about scoring points. The main way you're going to be scoring points in Rivet Wars on most scenarios involves the strategic objectives. Now with strategic objectives, there's 2 ways to score points. Capturing an objective and controlling an objective. Scoring points for capturing an objective happens at the end of your turn. Capturing an objective is when you have one of your units enter a strategic objective and then place your flag within it. That can involve entering an empty one and placing your flag in it, or entering a controlled one and placing your own flag within. Either way, when you capture an objective, as long as you have infantry units within it, at the end of of your turn, you may then put your flag up within it. That's going to award you 1 point for capturing that objective. At the beginning of a new round, if you hold an objective, holding an objective means that you've been wiped out, but they haven't been able to put any other infantry units within the objective, and your flag still stands. Or, if after multiple attacks, your units still protect that objective, that means that you still control that objective and you still held it. You will also get points for that. I believe that in my Basics 1.1 video, I was incorrect when I discussed how to earn points via this method. This is the correct way to earn points, is holding objectives. Now this does give a slight advantage to whoever goes second, but that's how the rules are stated, is that it is the beginning of the round, whoever still holds and controls the objectives will get an additional point. This method of gaining and continuing to gain points via strategic objectives allows you to gain a lot of points in quick succession, especially if you strategize well and can hold down multiple points at a time, or take multiple points in one go. This allows Rivet Wars to have a fast-paced action, and allows it to feel like a real World War I match, where as soon as you start to gain the lead, you kind of hold that lead. But it's getting to that point which is the fun. Another main way to earn points in a match is through the use of secret mission cards, which we'll talk about that in the card phase as well. However, secret mission cards, let's get that in there. Secret mission cards will allow points for doing different things within the game. In this case, our Panzerfaust controlling an objective. That would also gain us an additional point. The scenarios will decide how many points you play up to, or you can play up to 10 victory points. The last way to also gain points that you'll see a lot is by killing a unit with a bounty on it, which we will also be talking about when we talk about the cards during the card phase. We'll be talking about the stat cards. Well, let's bring that in, show that card a little bit. So the Sturmpanzer has several bounties upon it. Taking down an enemy unit or hero with a bounty on it will greatly give you more points. And that's one of the things that you have to be careful for when deploying some of these units, is a risk-reward. Units with bounties on them are often extremely valuable and extremely will give you the edge. Taking down a unit with a bounty on it is not going to be easy. But should you manage, And your rolls work out very well. You can very well take out a unit with a bounty and then seize victory for yourself. Be aware of units that are on the board that have bounties on them, as well as how they are used. This is not the only way to earn victory points by a long shot. The scenario will decide how the victory points are set up. But we'll be talking about that in the scenario video when we set up a scenario. With that, that's the turns and phases, as well as the basics of gaining points and obtaining victory. If you like this video, feel free to subscribe. I'm going to be having a lot more basic videos on Rivet Wars coming up. Feel free to also check out my Facebook page, which is facebook.com/landship. I have a lot more Rivet Wars related content and steampunk related content. If Rivet Wars isn't your thing as a steampunk board game, feel free to check out my other gaming videos or steampunk videos. With that, I do wish you a good day, and check out some more videos, and I hope this helps you get into the fight.